You are listening to the Estheticians Earning More podcast with Brittany Hageman, episode number 227. Happy Monday and welcome back. Before we get started, I forgot to talk about this last week, but I also was still feeling pretty sick. I have a free workshop coming up a week from today if you're listening live. It's Monday, March 2nd at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's totally free. The link is in the show notes to register. And it is titled Think Like an Esthetician CEO, and it is a mindset workshop. So I'm not going to be teaching business strategies in this workshop. I will be coaching as well. And so this is for you if you are consistently making $5 to $10 or more $1,000 in your business every month, and you really want to grow your business this year, you want to double your business, you want to really be the CEO of your business, not just someone who's like just does the esthetician work. He really wants to be a strong business owner. Yet all of those things feel very scary because of mindset stuff you have. So this workshop will help you identify some mindset shifts you need to work on. Because I know from working with clients now for all these years that mindset is really half of it. You can't just believe your way to getting more money. You have to take action, and it's so much easier to take action if you believe in it. You can take action without believing, but it's really painful, like mentally painful. So free to register. If you can't make it to register, you get the recording. The recording link will be live for 1 week after, and then it will be something that you can purchase to watch. So you'll get emails about it if you are on the list that signed up to come to the workshop. So that's it for that. On to today's episode. Something that I have seen consistently, and I know I've struggled with before as a business owner, esthetician business owner, and I feel like I've been coaching my clients on a lot lately, is the difference between great customer service and being nice. And it can feel confusing. And it can feel confusing. It's going to sound deep really fast. And again, I will remind you, I'm not a mental health professional, but from my own experience and just witnessing other people, it's hard to know the difference between great customer service and just being nice, as if you have been gaslit in the past and have had poor boundaries with family, probably, or close people in your life. I know, I told you it's got deep really fast. Okay, so I'm going to tell some stories. I've told some of these stories, I feel like, in the past, but it does apply to owning a business. And so just stick with me. So I think, I've experienced this. This is why I know this, that I've had, gaslighting in the past, where my experience, people tell me, is not what's happening. So that's very confusing. It happens again and again. You start to not believe your own reality. So when I was in my late 20s, working at Target, and I got a promotion that I worked really hard for, and I got a new boss, and I really struggled with this boss for so many reasons. And the big reason is I never knew, no one knew, like the team, my peers, we never knew how this person would respond to the same situation. So the same situation would happen, and there would be one response and another response. And we never knew which response we were going to get. And that was very unsettling for me. And then if we would explain if we had a negative response to a seemingly not negative situation, like a situation that previously in the past was a normal conversation, now our boss would get very upset. And so then we'd be like, okay, but remember we talked about that we're going to do this way or whatever. Like we were, trying to just like understand how this was different, right? And then our boss would just like gaslight us, right? And this happened. I worked in that store with her for at least a year, and it was very tough for me. And the best part of that, biggest takeaway that helped me so much with my business, so like we're bringing it back to owning a business, is I realized I could not control this person's reaction. I could only control my actions. I could only control what I did and how I behaved. And I was the same genuine, nice employee following orders over here on one side and the exact same on the other, and that this person had different reactions no matter what. And I had to stay very close to how was I actually showing up despite what this person was saying. Because again, I kind of grew up, if a boss tells you something, you want to take that feedback seriously, and like you want to improve, right? And I'm a people pleaser, and I don't like people being mad at me or being upset with me. So it's like, oh my God, what happened? I got to fix it, And it was so good because this person wasn't, even though it was a very important person in my life at the time, being my boss, it wasn't someone that, I have a relationship with today, right? Like I never have seen this person again. I could walk away. I knew eventually at one point I'd walk away from this relationship. I knew this wasn't a permanent relationship that I had to navigate. But it was a very important relationship because this person could have tried to fire me. I knew that this person would have had to fire all of their managers that worked for them because this is the same experience everybody had. But at first that was like a fear, like, oh my gosh, like I could be fired, right? And that also connects to your business, right? Like this is money. This is not just like a friend that you don't get along with or that can have the same emotional stress. It doesn't like change how you can pay your bills, right? And I really started focusing on being very intentional with my actions, being very remembering that I have integrity and I, am willing to get feedback, and improve where I can. But someone's emotional reaction is all of them. If I know I showed up with integrity and professionalism and kindness. And kindness doesn't always have to be being nice. I've had a whole episode on kindness versus being nice. The way that I really look at kindness in these situations is being fair, being honest in a way that isn't insulting. Like, you can be honest with someone without putting them down. I think sometimes people think being honest means you have the right to insult people. No, but you said that's just not okay with me versus you're an idiot, right? You may think they're an idiot. That is technically being honest, but that's just insulting. That's not necessary for the situation. You can just say I don't like that, right? I teach my daughter this every day. Okay. So this was a skill that I developed. So then fast forward to owning my business that I think is going to help you. So I know I told you it's going to take me a minute to get here. I would have let's say a cancellation policy where, I think at the time it was 24 hours. And 9-10, I didn't get that many cancellations, but 9 out of 10 people would cancel and they'd be like, charge me, I'm so sorry. I responded, I wrote the same message, whatever I said, exact same message. I'm so sorry, Brittany, didn't mean to waste your time. And, please charge me, whatever, right? And then that 10th person would act a crazy person. They would be so dramatic, right? The drama and and the, whatever it is, whatever they say. And I had to remember, I asked myself, did I act with integrity? Did I act fairly? Am I charging this person, but not charging someone else to do the exact same thing, right? And of course, there's exceptions. We can talk about that if you really need to, but generally, I didn't. I had the same rules. Rarely I would give an exception. Am I being fair? Am I being kind in my communication? Right, being professional and being thoughtful. Again, not being you wasted my time. Not accusing them. Not making it personal. Definitely not making it personal. If all of these things are true, and they lose their ever-loving mind. It sucks. It sucks to be on the receiving end of that. It doesn't feel good. It can really make you panic. I get it. But I could sit strongly knowing that I showed up as my best self in that situation. This is important because the more consistent you are with being consistent in your professionalism and behaviors and expectations, the less likely you believe the voice in your head that says you're the wrong person in this situation for charging someone for canceling late. And the more that happens, the stronger you get and the less it bothers you. It still probably will bother you. Like, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't sting as bad and you don't believe it as easily. The reason this is important and how it translates to great customer service versus being nice is if we operate from this place of I'm going to treat my clients fairly, consistently, with professionalism, kindly, honestly, in a way, again, that's not disparaging to them, that is giving great customer service. And I am not going to take things personally, even though it may feel personal when clients do or don't do things, because they're just going to go do their things regardless of me and how I'm showing up in the situation. Because like you cannot control them. You cannot control them. So you're in this state, which creates really good customer service because people understand that's what they're getting from you. They feel that from you, right? This is like you're a leader in that situation. You're leading the professional in your business. You are leading the terms of this relationship in a calm, confident, consistent, professional way. And that is really good customer service. And of course, with really good customer service, you will make exceptions to make people go away, right? Like, I don't care. This person's freaking out. I don't need the money, but you can't come back or whatever, right? Like make people go away, give people returns or whatever to make them go away. You can make exceptions based on particular situations that you feel are exceptions, right? I always think of this example of like I had this client who came monthly over a year, such a great client, just a joy. And I think she had 6 o'clock facial, like at 5:50. She texted me. She's like, I'm like a mile away and my tire just blew. I'm so sorry, I can't make it. Please charge me. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to charge her. It wasn't a mistake. This is real. Like it really happened, right? Like I actually followed her on Instagram and saw the picture. Like it was real, right? So I would make those exceptions for those very specific things, but majorly I wouldn't, right? Because I was like, I just want to be fair and across the board for everybody and not have to, like, I don't want to play favorites, right? So that is really good customer service, is making the best decision for the business at the time and the client relationship, if it means to save the relationship, if it's a client that you really want to save, or you don't want to save the relationship, and that's fine. The client can go somewhere else, right? That's really good customer service. Being nice is doing things because you're afraid of the perception that people will have, and you're trying to control their perception of you. That comes from scarcity, that comes from lack, that is not a leadership position. That is giving all of the control to your client in a way that isn't a customer service control. Like you want your clients to tell you if the table is not warm enough or they need another blanket, right? You want the client to tell you if your pressure is too hard on your massage or if the enzyme they're putting on hurts or whatever. Like you want that feedback. Like that is where the customer service comes, where you want them to feel honest with you and tell you what their preferences and things they like and they don't like. Yes, they get to lead that part, but they don't get to lead how the business is run. And whenever I see this with my clients, whenever I've done this myself in the past, if you're just trying to be nice because you don't want to rock a boat, you're coming again from this insecure space, it cannot end well for you. Because what ends up happening is you're making it personal because you want to seem nice. So you want them to look at you as a certain way. And then if they don't behave in the way that you expect because you were nice, so they should be nice back or whatever the expectation is, then you take it personally and make it personal about them. And now it becomes this interpersonal relationship problem versus an actual business problem. And someone being frustrated that you said no or whatever in a loving, kind way, professional way, is not a business problem. It's just it's their own problem. That's not your problem. And I hope that you see the difference. The way I just explained that, I feel like that was a little bit muddied. But you have to look at how are you behaving? What leadership are you bringing in this situation? Are you professional, consistent, kind, whatever? That's all that is expected of you in that situation. And their response is anywhere on the gamut of complete understanding to complete anger. And then they can decide what they want to do at that point. But if you're in those situations responding like, I don't want them to be mad at me, now you're making it about you, and your business isn't about you. I know that you run your business and you're a solo esthetician most likely, or you're the owner of a few other estheticians. And so it's your business, but it's not about you and how you feel in this situation. And it's not about how your client feels if you have done everything appropriate in the situation. If you were like, I can't believe you canceled on me again, like you start attacking the person, well, now it's become a personal, you're being personal in your communication, they're gonna be personal in their response to you, and now it's no longer an appropriate business conversation. And this happens so easily. Like, if this has happened to you in the past, I don't want you to shame yourself. I just want you to become aware of it because it's so easy to get to that point. And I know it happens all the time without us even realizing it. And it's very easy to go in that place when you respond in a professional way and they respond personally. It's very easy to get personal back. It's really hard not to, because you feel personally attacked. But again, you have to go back to how you actually handle the situation. Now, we're human beings, and sometimes we don't handle situations the way that we want to handle them. And that can come up, right? So you handle a situation, they don't like it, they attack you personally, and a little flag comes up in you, and that you goes, I didn't like the way I handled that situation. I don't like the way that I communicated to that person or whatever. So you as a business owner, again, get to own that in a professional way and move forward. So you can say like, I recognize that my text message wasn't great, or whatever phrase that you want to use. I apologize for that, and XYZ. So you can make mistakes in communication with your clients, and I say make mistakes means just not act in a professional way, and repair that in the communication with them. That I do think is a very professional mode. Then going forward, you have to be very particular, and careful not to do that again. You have to take a beat before you respond. If they're in person, you have to really put on your stew face. If you ever watched Below Deck, you know what I'm talking about. You really have to remember you're the professional in this situation. And the more you do it, the better you get at it and the easier it becomes. And again, not to say when you respond professionally and they respond personally, it doesn't hurt, because it does, because you're a human being, but you'll get better at it. That's it for today. Please come to my workshop. I would love to meet you if I haven't met you before. I'd love to coach you on mindset stuff. I'll be back next week. There will be a podcast, even though there's also a workshop. So come back for that. Talk to you then. Bye for now.